to start right at 7, and then I just completely fell apart in terms of getting everything ready to go. So we have got our quality options, and we'll be ready for Industries of Titan in just a minute. But I thought maybe it would be best if we can take a look at the new update, the new patch notes, and all of that. So let's bring that up. I'll open the game afterwards. And to begin with, let's take a look at the trailer.
Hi founders, this is Andy Wynn, lead designer on Industries of Titan. I hope you enjoy this new video format we're trying out to better explain the new updates we're bringing to Titan. So let's get into it. First, we'll be taking a look at the new Obsidian Ruins we've been finding around Titan lately. They're a rare source of resources that can include Tier 2 or Tier 3 minerals and isotopes. We've also uncovered strange anomalies scattered around Titan. Send a worker to research these sites to uncover an abundance of artifacts, which you can use to convert citizens or restore the inert ruins from last month's update. In next month's tech tree update, artifacts will act as currency towards unlocking ancient technologies. Have you seen these huge monument ruins before? Well, now you can build the council's new monument center on top of them. Once built, you'll be rewarded with a large amount of influence and an increased influence cap. In a future update that will add new victory conditions, this building will also serve as an optional victory point. Your corporation has also made a technological breakthrough with large ruins that will allow you to extract their secrets. As you might expect, large ruins contain a lot more resources and artifacts than you typically find. And, unlike normal ruins, these ruins always contain resources. The device list in factories and shipyards also has a new appearance. We've added a more detailed look at the available devices, and you can now collapse and expand device categories in order to help your workflow. We've also added a new inert ruin this update. You can activate this new ruin to gain an additional vision area without the need for a command center. You'll also meet a new rebel leader. Soren makes an appearance to push back your attempts at increasing the council's hold on Titan.
You're a true council loyalist, aren't you?
These updates will be made available to all players on September 7th, 2021. Be prepared for our next steps in our early access roadmap with our October update, when we'll be releasing a new building and revealing Titan's unique take on the tech tree. Thanks for watching, Founder.
All right, that's neat. I didn't actually know that they were doing a new format, but I actually think that there's a lot of sense to the way that they've done this. So as usual, we're going to read through the patch notes and then we'll jump into the game. So patch highlights: anomaly detected, harvest anomalies for more artifacts. Obsidian Ruins, survey higher quality ruins for more resources. New building, build a monument center to get on the council's good side. It's also kind of neat that they are teasing the new victory conditions. So I think that was always implicit in some of the things that they were saying before. And I'm not necessarily getting tired of Industries of Titan, but I am starting to sort of feel the wear of trying to just like go and take out the rebel headquarters all the time. So it'll be interesting to see, some new objectives while still trying to maintain, the defenses. I think this is one thing that I was talking about last time we played, which was once you go to a hard difficulty, it really does feel like you really need to dedicate everything to achieving the victory. So help me if I ever try to go for the next difficulty up. A new rebel leader, beware, Soren Gorak is on the move, and more. Industries of Titan is in early access, which means that we are actively updating and adding new content based on our roadmap and your wonderful feedback. You can expect the next Titan Tuesday update on October 5th, 2021. See the full patch notes below. Patch 17, Ruins, Resources, and Rebels, and as always, the little Saturn icon indicates a change due to community feedback. Artifact anomalies. Anomalies function very similar to resource patches. By researching them, you can gain more artifacts than you would normally find in a ruin. You can assign an employee to harvest the artifacts from an anomaly. They will be instantly added to your HUD as they are harvested. Obsidian Ruins. These ruins contain higher tier resources than normal ruins. You've been slow to get started on your resource. If you've been slow to get started on your resource processing, snagging one of these will net you some tier 2 or tier 3 resources quickly and painlessly. They're a bit pricier to claim, however. So this is a neat idea. Obviously, I spend a lot of time building up my my factories at the start. This might actually make it viable to try and build some higher tier buildings, like I was doing in some of the earlier patches before they introduced resource refining. Monument Center. You can now build a special monument center on top of any monument that you've claimed. As long as this building is online and fully staffed, your influence gain will increase and your influence cap will be permanently increased. So this I sort of see as being a double-edged sword, because at least on the harder difficulties that we've tried previously, influence really does seem to creep up on you as far as the rebel attacks are concerned. And so a consequence of that will be, if you build the Monument Center, presumably you are also bringing on a lot of pain. And of course, you've dedicated those resources to building the Monument Center, not to building up your defenses. So I'll be interested in seeing the balance that I have to strike between those two. Large ruins functionality. You can survey, salvage, and extract large ruins. They contain significantly more resources and artifacts than regular ruins. Watch out, there's a new rebel leader on your map. Zoran Gorak is leader of the Breakers, an organization of rebels loosely affiliated with the Cobra rebels, led by Bahar. I don't know why I thought it was Cobra. I thought that was Kabora or Koroba. I'll see it inside the game, but I probably just got this wrong. Led by Bahar. He too despises the council and their ways and is a master of persuasion in getting others to join his cause. You can read more about Zoran in the Codex. The rebel leader you're dealing with is randomized each new game, which gives me, I suppose, an incentive to try and do more than one full playthrough each time I play, because I have a feeling that they're just going to keep adding more and more. Device List 2.0. We've been wanting to update the device list look and UX for some time. Now all devices are in categories that can be expanded and closed at will. We also have much bigger thumbnails so players have a better idea of what the devices look like before placement. It looks also like they're showing you the tiles that it will take up, which I think is a neat touch. Please let us know what you think. Well, I sort of just did, but I'm sure I'll have more feedback as I play. New inert ruin type, vision increasing ruin. Activating this ruin will enable you to see into the fog of war, helping you plan your expansion. You will still need to build command centers to claim new territory. Added an overlay function to inert ruins. Selecting a battery or fuel inert ruin will now display the correct overlay. Okay, that's a very sensible adjustment. I didn't really notice that they didn't have it before, but then I also didn't check my inert ruins that much. Well, I guess it's not inert if I activate it. But update the codex with all of our research on these new things. Remove the fuel used stat from the transport hub as it was not adding value to gameplay. I will admit, and I think this comes up quite a bit in the Discord, so I have a feeling it would either A, it will be implemented because it's a popular request, or B, it is too much trouble to implement, and I can... Having had to help out on a feature like this, I can definitely believe part B. It would definitely be nice to see charts of things. I feel like that is something that these styles of games do. And of course, as an econ guy, you know, I'm a sucker for a good chart. But you know, if you were to put it as, do you want the research? Do you want the tech tree, or do you want the graphs? I'm like, I'd like the tech tree, please. So yeah, we'll see. Added an extra UI to locked hulls to make it more obvious that they are locked. Added a button for open directory to photo mode. That's a great touch, because I know personally, as well as on the Discord, quite a few people have struggled to find the directory. I actually go to the Phantom Brigade Discord, use that link, and then sort of reverse engineer the Titan the Titan folder. Did a pass on all button tooltips to make sure that they displayed their hotkey correctly. If you've been hoping for a specific hotkey to be added to the game, make sure you check out the settings. We have quite a few there already. We've changed the way tutorials work. They are now per game instead of in settings. A button has been added to the pause menu to disable the Easter egg after it has been triggered. Yeah. Fixed trucks getting stuck. So actually, there's a few. Oh, you know what? This isn't all that long. So fixed trucks getting stuck when bringing employees to the shipyard if they were going to build a ship. This is not a retroactive fix. Sorry. Honestly, you should probably be starting a new save. There was another game that I was recording videos for where the update broke it, and I was kind of sad about it because I'd put about 13 hours into recording. But like, it's on you if you don't like. I think the one thing is that I didn't actually get any benefits out of that update. It was purely so that they could add DLC to the game. I think I felt a little more bad about that one. This one, they're like adding stuff to the game. So, you know, there's something very annoying about playing a game and then being locked out of your save so they can like advertise the fact that you no longer have all the features of the game. But that's not what happened to Industries of Titan. So why am I talking about other games that don't treat you as well as Titan? Fixed ships waiting for crew forever if an employee died on the way of the crew pod. Fixed timed contract mode not working correctly on Epic. So I will also note, having tested the new update, it also fixed a problem I was having about connecting my Epic account. So that's cool. I didn't actually see anybody on the leaderboards. That might be because nobody had done anything on it at the time. So we'll take a quick look at the time contract. Well, we probably won't start one, but we'll just take a quick look to see if that's doing anything. But I am happy that I'm able to at least look at the time contract mode again. Fix the jukebox defaulting to automatic when reloading a game. Fix music volume not resetting its state when moving from the shipyard to another building via the shortcut menu. Fix speaker portrait not returning to the correct character if going back to the previous speaker doing a 2-character dialogue. Fixed a handful of crashes. Fixed a cancel shortcut not working until the right tile of a device was selected. Fixed duplicate descriptions of Osprey and Heron ships. Fixed devices disabled due to waste incorrectly showing a not enough energy flag. Fix zoom minimap UI elements displaying over citizen panel. Fix some instances of wording not being consistent between UI elements. Fix some overflowing UI in certain buttons. I was wondering, I don't think I ever reported them, but I noticed a couple of those. So fix some inconsistencies when draining battery flags. Fix jukebox not playing music in manual mode. Fixed employees getting stuck in their walking animations when pausing and resuming device construction or dismantle jobs. Fix crew not getting unassigned from a ship correctly if their next job was to become crew on a different ship. Fix disable shortcut not working on buildings outside of command range. Fix some missing strings. Fixed max influence not updating correctly until the game was unpaused after loading. Fixed ugly text resizing in the build menu. Fixed tooltip and HUD disappearing if you clicked on the credits. Fixed being unable to select a new grid from the HUD if any tile was selected in the city. Fixed repair button remaining highlighted after the building was fully repaired. Fixed spaceport displaying not enough storage incorrectly. Should have displayed not enough living space. Fixed progress bar on resource patch appearing empty on load. Fixed checkbox SFX triggering incorrectly on load. Good work, Power Up. If that was Power Up that did it. Fixed rebel attacks not shooting in a straight line occasionally. Fixed some incorrect triggers in the tutorial. Fixed turret range VFX not disappearing if selecting a building that triggers an overlay. Fixed camera getting stuck when clicking on minimap and entering a building at the same time. Fixed jobs not being cancelled when crew were unassigned from a ship while repairing a device or healing themselves. Fixed camera becoming misaligned with the map border after exiting a building interior on the edge of the map. Fixed battery and vision ruins not always showing VFX. Fixed not all variants of level 2 and level 3 ruins spawning during map gen. Fixed redundant salvage button displaying on destroyed rebel buildings. Fixed device health not displaying on docked ships. Fix some inert ruins VFX not playing correctly. Fix some dashes around letters. Fixed using dashes around letters will no longer turn them into an M dash. I'm not quite sure what an M dash is, but I'm sure I'll find out. This is just me not knowing English, apparently. Fixed the discover section of ruins not refreshing when surveying completes and the ruin is selected. And we've got the full list of known issues here, but we have held off the hour of doom long enough. It is time to play Industries of Titan. And as a quick word, I figured I'd wait until I get into the game because that also gives us a chance to, have people come in and check out the game and just generally say, oh, what interesting thing is going on here. I was given a key for this game by Brace Yourself Games. I obviously think very highly of them, but this was for promotional purposes, and as grateful as I am for it, you should probably know that ahead of time.
Titan with a dream. Our moon
is one of limitless wealth. There are ancient riches here for those with the strength to claim them. But some dreams start smaller. A better life, more dignity, more comfort. Today, Titan is a place where you can buy those dreams, where anyone can profit. But it isn't easy. You have to prove yourself here. Those who settle here take that risk. And without their diligent labor, our power grid would fail. Pollution would overwhelm us. And our trade would collapse. It's hard work, but on Titan, hard work isn't enough. The bold, the strong, those are the people Titan rewards. Those are the ones who see their dreams through. Exceptional people. Friends to the Council. That is why we're giving you this opportunity, Founder. We expect great things from you. Make sure you live up to our expectations.
Okay, I had a leftover... Oh yeah, we already won this one. So I was talking about the improvements. So you could already see the overlay. On top, do I not have friends? I thought I had friends. Maybe they're not online. But yeah, so here we go. Active contract, 7 Titan days, 6 hours until reset. So the only thing I notice here is that when I go cycling through the leaderboards, I have no entries found. Now that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because I was actually having trouble getting into timed contract at all. But yeah, this is an improvement. And I do feel like we'll do another one sooner rather than later. But I do feel like we should probably spend some time getting familiar with the new game and the new mechanics. Also, in honor of the writing, let's take a second here and see some of the other... Yeah, so this is interesting. So Bahar's name is Kuroba. So I thought when they said the Cobra faction, I always thought it was the Kuroba faction named after its founder, but that doesn't necessarily, like, that could be one of anything. So actually, let's just take a look here. Okay, no, so it's the Cobra Rebels, although her name is Kuroba. So there we go. Hey, it's Yuj, how you doing? So yeah, let's actually find out about the, we'll find out about our opponents. I don't think I've actually done the whole list of characters. We've met them in the tutorials for sure, but I want to be selective on the codex, otherwise we're not going to start the game. So Bahar, our familiar opponent, rebel faction leader of the Cobra Rebels, origin Titan, brought up by the founders of the small but successful Kuroba Solutions. Bahar witnessed how Titan's corporations treated its employees. When they spoke out about it, their parents tried to have them converted. That was enough to push them towards the rebel cause. They were educated to take over the family business, and now they use that knowledge against the corporations of Titan and the council itself. You started your international econ class, and it is pretty confusing. Are you using the... I actually have it, it's propping up one of my monitors, the Krugman, Melitz, and Obstfeld textbook. Do you want to talk about, a small open economy versus a large open economy? No. Oh, Feenstra and Taylor. Feenstra used to be at UBC. He was actually one of the people who studied under Erwin Dewart. That's a pretty good tech. I actually have that one propping up my my monitor as well. Unfortunately, it's the first edition of it. I think it's on its third edition now. No, if I remember correctly, that's a pretty good textbook. And Feenstra definitely is like good. So is there anything that's specifically confusing you, or what are so many econ textbooks? You don't even want to know. So there's a calculus textbook and a modern banking textbook propping up the one, and then I have 3 volumes of the collected papers of Paul Samuelson holding up the other one. And I just have a lot of econ textbooks, and while I actually do like the international economics textbooks, I have slightly more contemporary ones and ones that are maybe a little more consistent with what I would need to do. So these were the ones that were the correct height and were immediately available. I do feel about the Feenstra and Taylor one, though, because I actually want to properly go through it. Hey, Night Valiant, how you doing? Anyway, sorry, we were talking about Rebels, and now I'm talking about international economics, but it's huge. We're just starting Industries of Titan. I did all the patch notes. So, Zoran Gorak, Rebels position leader of the Breakers, origin unknown, but previously worked as an asteroid miner. Zoran has an endless well of passion and a guilty conscience. He'll tell you about the evils of the Council and what they did to his family, but he'll artfully avoid mentioning any of the ways he was complicit in the violence they enacted. He knows exactly what parts of the story to tell to convince his followers into swift and violent action. He would call himself persuasive and sympathetic. Not everyone who has crossed his path would agree. All right, anything new on buildings? Monument Center. To ensure the safety of the precious ruin monuments, the Council asks founders to erect monument centers over them and place a watchful employee there. Not only does it preserve the sanctity of the ruin, it also increases your total influence cap, because remember, there are considerable benefits to having the Council on your side, even if they do devalue influence whenever they want. So there should be at least 2 here, I would imagine. Well, then again, some of these might have already come up. So, large ruins. Like many of the ruins one finds littering the landscape of Titan, these dilapidated structures are the remnants of a time before the Council. Excuse me. These ruins are larger than usual, sometimes contain more resource. I think it's resources, or should be, but maybe I might be wrong on that. But they're no less mysterious. The history of those who came before may be lost, but the stories of the treasures buried within these ruins beckon to the most enterprising of Titanians. Inert tank. When properly harnessed, these ruins provide fuel to enterprising founders. Your research scientist was impressed that the fuel is even usable in our system, since presumably the last civilization wasn't as technologically advanced as modern-day corporations. Clearly, more research is needed to find definitive answers. Inert battery. Not only did the ancient civilization clearly have some way to generate energy, they found a storage solution that led to almost no degradation. So this ruin still functions perfectly as a working battery. Inert filter. I think we got one of these last time. Researchers have many guesses as to how ancient Titanites... This is interesting. So we're Titanians if we're corporations, and Titanites if we were the previous civilization. I suppose we use the previous civilization to upgrade our weapons when playing From Software games. We're able to breathe Titan's air. This ruin, which contains strange air purifying tech, may be a major clue to that puzzle. Inert radar. This is the new building. Modern founders aren't the only ones who wanted to see beyond the fog on Titan. We can't know for sure what they were looking for with these ruins, but they may well have been using it to expand their empires, the same as us. An unactivated inert ruin. This looks really cool, by the way. I sometimes I just don't want to activate the ruins so I can have the nice look. These strange ruins are unlike any others in that they contain ancient technology that an enterprising founder might be able to harness. Scientists are still studying the civilization that made its home in the stars, but perhaps these ruins will be able to tell us something if we know where to look. Gamer Ruins. Run on an LED. Ruin Monument, exceedingly rare, but extremely attractive to the Council, thanks to the information they provide on the lost civilization. Unfortunately, due to their rarity, they are often subject to ruin runners who take them apart for valuable parts. A founder who builds a monument center on a ruin monument will surely curry favor with the Council for protecting the Council's assets against these runners. Oh, that's a neat idea. I wonder if there's going to be a faction built around the runner idea, or maybe there'll be an opponent. Obsidian Ruins. Not only are these Obsidian Ruins beautiful, they are also sometimes contain higher tier resources. Does this mean that the previous civilization had a refining process the same as ours? Or were the resources available on Titan better quality before the current medley of corporations settled here? That's a neat implication. And finally, the artifact Anomaly, which does not have an image. I wonder if that's intentional. There are rumors these anomalies were burial sites for the former civilization. Oh, that's why, because it's probably on the ground. There's no substantiated evidence for this. What we do know is that they contain a finite amount of artifacts for any founder who bothers to study them. But use employees only. These anomalies are delicate and would be destroyed by machines. Okay, I don't think we have anything for the glossary, devices. I don't think we really got any new goodies. Why do damage to your enemy when you can utterly obliterate them? The Spitzeus is perfect for just that. I really like these descriptions. I actually kind of wonder if they... Oh, they fixed the Bueto string. That or it was always fixed and I was just reading it in the wrong spot. I do like all these descriptions, but we should probably get on with the game now. So for those of you who do not know him, we've got Night Valian, who's in the chat, who has been doing it's Legend of Dragoon, I believe. He's also been doing some Mega Man lately. So basically just a bunch of boomer games with like pixel art style and not like Industries of Titan voxel style. We're talking like actual 2D games. But no. Night Valian's been playing some classics. I suspect with a new batch of Game Pass games coming out soon, he may be trying a few of the others. But another fine streamer to check out if you are so inclined. Soft-voiced and streams a little bit later than I do, so is often a good hosting choice. So we will do standard. I like doing standard. Time contract is fun, and I definitely want to jump back into that. I think so. One thing I'm curious, so what we did previously was hard. So rebels spawn more often. Rebels spawn with more strength. Destroyed buildings return fewer resources, and destroyed buildings generate more waste. These bottom two are not critical to me. Spawning more often and spawning with more strength at my current skill level makes me focus on nothing but dealing with the rebels. Titan, much more often, much more strength, and then again, destroyed buildings and whatnot I can live with. So I'm going to do normal because I actually like the city building part of this game, and I don't want everything to just be purely focused on destroying the rebels. And maybe that is I guess the biggest difficulty that I have here is that I'm trying to find out if hard is intended for me to be focusing so much on the military, or if it's just the fact that I sort of like to stop and smell the roses, or I tend to just build based on what I'm interested in as opposed to necessarily an optimal way. It's a little bit like if you want to play Civilization on Deity. You can't turn around and complain, oh, but I wanted to build this big, beautiful thing. It's well, maybe don't play it on the hardest difficulty then. So I'm trying to figure out exactly the balance. And I think it'll be interesting to contrast it with different victory types as we go on. But I'm not ruling out the possibility of trying a hard in a Titan run later, but just I feel like because I've tried hard a couple of times, I want to go back to normal and build up my just make a cool looking city basically. Night Valian, you whippersnappers, youngins don't appreciate the classics. Yeah, because modern games are better. I was looking at this pixel art clone of Industries of Titan called Sim City, and I don't know, Valiant Cheese really liked it, but no, I'm kidding. Okay, so we've done standard investment. I don't know if we've won a ruthless opportunity lately. We've got rugged venture. I believe we did that last time, or did we do tranquil trailblazing? And then chemical enterprise. So normal resources, very low rocks, no lakes, very high crevices, very high rebel camps, no rain or snow. Well, you know what? Let's try and come up with the balance. So let's do ruthless opportunity. So very high resources, very low rocks, very low lakes, very high crevices, very high rebel camps, occasional heavy rain and snow. The most lucrative parts of Titan are also the most dangerous. Only the strongest will be able to protect their cities here. The rest will crumble into the crevices. So we have done this before, but this says the highest number of rebel camps. So we will balance out our normal difficulty with lots of bad guys. I'll skip the tutorials just because they take me a little while to go through. Although I do want to see what the new one is like, and let's get a name first. So. Professor Alliance works for me. That looks like a V. Well, I could have tried hardcore mode. That would have forced me to. Pay attention. Hey, only half an hour before I started playing the game. I'm getting better at this. Oh, I didn't look at the roadmap. All right, you all know that the research is coming up. That's why it took me. I got through it at a decent clip for me. Alright, Codex, trade never sleeps. Titan citizens barely do either, thanks to the incessant roar of low-atmosphere ship combat.
Founder, the Council is glad to see you. We have significant investments riding on your success. I hope you'll live up to our expectations.
Oh, and we've already got the new artifact anomaly. Okay. Yeah, so it's really expensive though. Yeah, so we got a little bit of everything here. I wasn't sure if that, so either I didn't read the tooltip correctly or it just doesn't tell you anything about the new stuff. But I was kind of hoping that the starts with lots of resources would give us just a nice early look at some of the new stuff. So we've got 2 artifact anomalies. That's going to cost 50 influence to mine out, but there's basically about 30 artifacts just lying in the ground waiting for us to pick them up. We've got 2 Obsidian Ruins. Yeah, 2 Obsidian Ruins within our existing borders with options for more. We've got multiple... Oh, that's not entirely true. We've got one mineral, 1 isotope mine. The one thing that isn't actually immediately accessible, which is a little unusual for these starts, we are a bit short on the Zethane. I'll probably build the turbine over here. Did they change the order? Oh no. I think I do salvage above survey. So the logic of this is just when I tell them I want a survey, I generally want that action to happen right away, whereas survey tends to be one of my standing orders. Oh yeah, actually I guess I should just put survey at the bottom. So it doesn't mean I don't want it to happen. It doesn't mean I don't want the surveys to happen. It's just a little bit like a repair, which is, it's one of these things that I'd like to see done reasonably quickly. So generally I like to go, oh, so we've already got a battery, that's nice. And I might be short on isotopes. Oh man, there's another. Okay, so we've got fuel and a battery. That's great for a start. All right, and this is the new UI. So, oh, have you not seen the intro before? It's huge. I guess one of the first things I think of is like when I look at this, I'm like, oh, where's all the other stuff I was familiar with? But that's me as somebody who's already played the game before. So I think the one thing I would like a little bit differently based off of this. So it looks like there's hotkeys for most things. Maybe not for the population. I feel like this could still benefit from a list mode. It's like to have the option. I don't know if that would like mess with stuff, but I feel like having the option to have the list would work for me here. Okay, I need to actually get the place built. So usually we start with a fuel turbine. What am I gonna need? I suppose. We don't really need a mine right away, but I usually am pretty slow in making smokestacks. Probably stick the smokestack somewhere on this side of the map. I'll keep the 2K for now, but hopefully we can dodge payday. Oh my goodness, and an extended sensor array. Oh Jesus. Okay, so we got 4, 5. Holy smokes. Okay, so there's 2 batteries. There's a fuel depot and 2 sensors. Wow. Thank you, brace yourself. Okay, how do I want to approach this? I think probably picking up the minerals patch makes some sense. One thing I did do to sabotage myself... Oh, no, we've got the isotopes on the ground here. I was going to say, it looks like I can't build a factory because I don't have isotopes, but they are on the ground. I suppose that's the one problem with my extraction plan, is if I don't have somebody dedicated to actually moving the isotopes and minerals, it doesn't matter. So... can unlock the counts. We're not quite ready for bodies yet. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that choice, but I think getting somebody extracting minerals right away would not be a terrible idea. And I suppose we can go for the... Well, isotopes would be a little bit better than minerals in this case. Oh, 1? Really? Well, 15 and 2. You'll do. Okay, so let's think about where I'm going to stick the factory. So having the special ruins here, I mean, I can extract it if I want, but having the special ruins here generally messes with my usual plan of... I have like a specific way that I build this stuff at the start, but that's not a good excuse for not falling out of the plan. Okay, so we gotta wait for the isotopes to get loaded. If I can, I'd like to build the storage container as quickly as possible. The way this is set up now, there's a max capacity of 12, so it is not possible to build a large storage container on its own. You actually have to like incrementally upgrade, which is sometimes a little inconvenient. But I was thinking a bit about how I can handle that. So, oh, okay. Well, we can start building a factory at least. We won't have the power for it, but, well, actually, now we have the power for it. Of course, I'm out of the isotopes, so I'm going to put... Oh, did I really just fill myself up on garbage? No, that's not true. Somebody will be moving those resources over there in just a moment. So yeah, for those of you unfamiliar with the game, definitely feel free to ask any questions. Right now we're just in the, running ahead and building stuff up phase. I do want to get sort of all of my power and my my industry up and running as quickly as possible. And I'm definitely going to want the isotopes, so... So I'm going to wait to get the 40 influence for... yeah, we can afford to... So they'll just naturally move to the move resources phase. I think probably saving up to get the isotope patches isn't a terrible idea. Again, I'm going to put a little bit less priority on the isotope nodes for starters. And this is just because I would like to... If I've got this nice early start, I want to take advantage of all of the resources I immediately have access to. And incidentally, so with that in mind, I may also want to consider some very aggressive expansion at the start to be able to take advantage of, you know, this fairly strong start. So that means building buildings that'll be getting me influence and such, and upgrading the, you know, upgrading the headquarters, upgrading the pylons and such. Okay. But in the meantime, let's build that. Oh, so I can't hit M. I really would have thought off of this that hitting M would have given you storage. So I guess either giving you hotkeys to pick stuff off of this menu, or being able to see the list again. I think it's just something about the idea. In the old one, I had kind of a fighting chance to see most of the stuff. This one, I sort of feel... Well, nah. It's still new. I actually think I'll probably wind up liking this. I need to get past the phase of this is different and therefore bad, and we'll see how I think about it after stewing. Okay. So a couple things that I want to have happen. Basically, I always want my workers working. So some of them are going to go picking up resources. I do occasionally want to sort of buzz down different ruins and such. In fact, this is a prime candidate. Either I take the 1 artifact or the 13 minerals, but that's also quite a bit of waste. What I want to do is get this. It's all mine is completed. Mine a resource node. That must be an old one, because I definitely didn't just mine a resource node here. But yeah, so one of the things I want to have happening right now, I want my workers to always be working, and even if it just means sending them off to perform other tasks like picking up minerals or something like that, that still works for me. Now, I'm going to run the risk. The one risk that I've had in the past is when I start constructing my factory, extending the factory winds up messing around with the layout. But I'm going to build this on the assumption that everything works the proper way. So let's get our mineral input module. It is going to take a little getting used to the new signs for things, but... The red's a nice touch for the output module. That might have always been that way, in which case this revealed new things to me. I'm trying to decide if I want to spend all the money or... I think this time I'll be nice and I'll leave something aside to pay the workers. Because this is one of these cases where I think I'm going to want to try and just keep the growth going up.
Device complete. Device complete.
So eventually I'm going to put down a another factory here. Okay, where's the bridge? Wait, did I do that right? Yes. So one of the reasons why I want to be a little more cautious about my waste storage is that I'm gonna start running into problems really quickly with waste storage if I'm not careful on how I handle this. Mind you, we don't have any power right now, so it's kind of a moot point, but I sort of just want to be aware of some of the pitfalls I'm leaving for myself. Probably a storage facility wouldn't hurt, but one of the reasons why I built one of the reasons why I bought the smokestack early was just so that we can get in the process of eliminating waste as quickly as we can. So before I claim the isotopes patch, I do want to take this ruins first. So I'm going to take it for the artifact. One artifact isn't particularly exciting, but then neither is 12 waste, and we have so many free ways of getting minerals that it just doesn't make that much sense for me to do it any other way. So we'll expand this factory when we can afford to right now, so let's get that done. And I think eventually I'm going to have to get some power. So this is currently my waste storage. I can't exactly... Well, no, that's not entirely true, actually. I believe I can disable it. I'm going to turn off the waste button. What I'm going to do instead is put down a waste receptacle here. Dismantle this one, and once we get to 25, or alternatively, once we refine to 25, I'll put down the large. Probably shouldn't upgrade to... I should probably level up my minerals if I'm going to build a 25. Hey, Index Gnome, how you doing? Okay, so we're really just waiting on the power plant here. What am I looking for? So I'm at -4. I could try building 2 generators. Yeah, you know what? That's gonna be... All this is temporary, so... Not sure about that fuel turbine placement, but what I'm trying to do here is just put these things in places I know I'm going to wind up replacing them with. So eventually there's going to be like a large power generator. If I can get away with it. Oh, this would be an interesting thing. If you could get, like, I know people ask for previews. So one thing is the fact that I don't have the CUs for it doesn't mean I can't benefit from coming up with an outline for these things. So it'd be interesting if there's a way to angle it so that you can see, because like the drawback, I've built it so many times, but I genuinely do not remember whether I need to put... I think I put the bridge and relay here. the question is, do I want to take up the artifact anomaly, or do I want to work the isotope patch? A nice thing is, because we have access to sort of this 30 artifacts, I maybe don't need to rush. Like I can use the ruins more for like the resources inside of them. I'll still probably do what I normally do with the artifacts, though, just because again we're drowning in resources here. It's just a question of getting enough hands to get the job done. Tetris indeed, and I don't know if this is an explicit statement that they've made, but it definitely feels like a few of the items are designed to mildly frustrate you. By which I mean, like, there's a nice, easy block way to line it all up, and there's always just that one little extra bit to make it inconvenient, or there's always just that there's just that one angle that keeps it from being, the device that you really wanted. And again, like, I don't know this for sure, but I don't think this is an example. Like, I don't think this is a case of them not knowing what they're doing. I think they know exactly what they're doing that. And, in one sense, I shake my fist at the heaven and, wish it were otherwise. But on the other hand, it's what makes it interesting, right? Because, like, if everything... So, here's my guess on it. And again, I don't have a very good... I don't make games, so I don't know exactly what's interesting to players or not. But if everything fit together, I suppose the question would be, well, why not just make everything, like, 4x4 squares? Presumably there is some interest in trying to make this stuff not completely harmonize, and assuming you're willing to go that far, I think, okay, what's going on with headquarters? I would have thought, oh, we don't have the bridge up, and what happened to that relay? But yeah, anyways, my guess here is that there's probably a very conscious effort to make you have to think a little bit about your layouts, which I like. And I think if you want to think about layouts, or if you want to make somebody think about layouts, that usually that doesn't mean you make everything just sort of fit nicely. I don't know though. I'm sure they'll probably talk a little bit about how they put together the layouts for things. Armed to the teeth. Build a ship with 4 weapons. They're totally giving me achievements for stuff that I've... Oh, I bet you what's happening is all the stuff that I did before in previous playthroughs where it wasn't connected to Epic. I'm getting all those... I bet you I'm getting all of those achievements now. You just can't accept things that don't fit. IRL, that would not happen. Machines are designed to use space efficiently. That is true, but let me try and give you the sort of the counter example. A very large amount of business, like, so let's just say that you're working in a competitive space where you're like part of what you are doing, part of like what makes you good at your business, let's say, is the fact that you have identified a technology. And when I say technology, I mean like a way of doing things. Oh, this is interesting. So I can't use my scroll wheel. Okay, that's one I want to report. No, that's a solid medium. I don't really think I need the screenshot, but I should probably attach the screenshot just so we know. love Tetris though. That's a puzzle model simulation. Yeah. So sorry, where I was trying to go with this is to say, so when I say technology, I'm not necessarily talking about like getting better computers, but more so the way of organizing the factors of production in a way that gives you an edge. So introducing the computer in the first place would be an example of technological progress. That's taking what used to be a paper office and turning that into an electronic office. Now that we kind of do everything electronically, buying a computer is just like buying a factory part. So actually, maybe let me put it to you this way. So let's say that you run some crazy quantitative hedge fund where, you know, you're just taking a whole lot of data on financial markets and what's happening in the world, and you are making some statistical models. Another name for this is statistical arbitrage. Basically, you are doing a series of models for what you think the appropriate prices for financial assets are. This requires a lot of computing power and a lot of data and the ability to crunch it. And so obviously there's a bunch of talent. In fact, there is something of an argument to say that there is a lot of very talented people in, like, so people who are very talented in quantitative disciplines, so things like physics, are now going to work, at least it used to be, you know, going into Wall Street to make a lot of money. So let's say that you take the employees as given, take the talent as given, and you have the really bright idea of saying that everyone who works at your hedge fund or, you know, investment firm or whatever, their computers are hooked up to a grid. So in addition to the fact, like, so, you know, you'll have a few interns who are banging away at a laptop, and, you know, they'll have Microsoft Word or whatever. You'll have a bunch of people who are using computers for standard everyday tasks, but because it's hooked up to this compute grid, when the model needs to crunch some extra stuff, or like needs that extra computing power, you could take that surplus and run it directly into your machine. So to a certain extent, right, you have this, let's say, you know, we've by construction put the same employees in, you know, you've got enough money to hire the brain power. Both computers have offices. In fact, by construction, we can say, you know, identical offices, exact same computers. But one of them is able to say, instead of just having these computers sit idle when people aren't writing reports with them, we're going to take whatever surplus processing power we have, and we're just going to put it all in this big, you know, big parallel project. And so whenever the nerds need some extra horsepower for whatever model they're running, we're going to be able to put it in and either do it faster or do more iterations, or, you know, whatever it is. You can also maybe make an example of this with like cryptocurrency mining. It really, like, pick your industry of choice. And one of the big things is that when you can do that, at least when we model this stuff, one way that it can be modeled is the ability to sort of lower the price and undercut your competition, which of course will give you more of the industry. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is the idea of a machine, like being designed to fit together. I agree to a certain extent, but because this is about making your founding your startup on Titan, part of this is coming up with the way that you want to organize things. And I think that's the same satisfaction that you get from games like Satisfactory or Factorio or Surviving Mars, to try and come up with this organization of all of these different parts to do so in a way that works a little bit better. And I mean, there are ways that I think work well for factory layouts and such. But I actually think some of the ideas of making it so that things don't always perfectly harmonize. So like in this case here, I've made it so that I can sort of stack these two beside each other and kind of have two of this design. But one of the first ones that I tried was to actually do something where I would have two employee modules, for instance. Actually, I'm going to slightly adjust the design this time around, and I'm going to put a... Oh, this is interesting. Okay, yeah, so it says inputs. It's like output module. So I thought for some reason this was being called the waste module. But yeah, I'm actually going to do something a little bit different than my ideal, just because it gives me a chance to put another input in. This is something that I kind of picked up on when I saw Maddie play. That Maddie's the one of the community managers at Brace Yourself. But yeah, anyways, I guess what I'm trying to say here is like the question is like what if you consider the industries of Titan, if you will, to be fully formed and sort of like ready to go, then I suppose I would kind of have to agree with you that the machines should just come out of the box and you should build like one fabricator or like one refiner or something like that. But if on the other hand, this is the Wild West and you're trying to get that edge, and part of that edge is productivity, because again, everybody's well financed on Titan. I think there is something very interesting about trying to build a better system. And so as a result, I think that's a little bit more consistent in terms of trying to get the parts together. I guess the other way you might think about it would be Netflix, right? So Netflix started around the time when I think the majority of movie watchers were probably still using like VHS tapes, like those bulky black cassette things that like are really bad to mail. And DVD was definitely a thing. That was one of the first things that they tested. But the idea of saying, okay, we're going to come up with a mail order service where you can like rent movies and avoid late fees and things like that. Somebody had to have that idea, and somebody needed to think about the logistics of running a video store and then be able to transplant that to to an online model. So that's kind of how I think about the game. I am very tempted to buzz down some more ruins, but because I've got so many people standing around, I think it would make sense to pick up another patch. Also, we already chewed through those existing minerals really quickly. But yeah, I definitely want to get the upgrades up and running. I'm actually a little surprised that it's taken us this long to get the energy bridge going. So who should be working on that? Oh. So it looks like that got lost in the queue somewhere. Ah, no! Stop. Come back with that. So it would be kind of nice to have storage for this stuff. That, of course, implies artifact snatching. But if I do that, then I can't get the... If I do that, then I can't get my isotopes patch. Okay, so I'm gonna set myself up for the next phase of the factory line. I'm gonna do my absolute best to avoid the garbage carpet. want to make sure that I'm doing the tier 2s only. Okay, so we need 10 of those to get the level 2 down. So this will be for the isotopes. Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not going to tell you what your preferences should be. I guess where I was trying to go with this is just to try and say I think there is a real life phenomena that's being modeled by the fact that these things don't perfectly line up. I mean, I'm making them line up, right, with the relays and all of that. I don't think most people who make business... So I guess maybe think about, like, Brace Yourself Games, right? Like, that company... At some point there was not a Brace Yourself Games, and now, in addition to having made Crypt of the Necrodancer, they've got a system in place where they're currently producing 2 games which are in early access right now, Phantom Brigade and Industries of Titan, plus whatever projects we don't know about. And, you know, some indie studios can do that, other indie studios can't. But there is something rather impressive about the fact that Brace Yourself... I mean, Brace Yourself has gone on... Like, Ryan Clark used to run this thing called the Clark Tank, where he would sort of talk about what he thought went into sort of making hits. Sort of he talks a lot about sort of the hooks for games and sort of things that get people... interested and sort of concept. I mean, I suspect I'm probably doing violence to what he's talking about, but like I would almost say to a certain extent in certain screenwriting books you'll see the idea of like a high concept, and it's one of these things where you can give someone an elevator pitch and they're like, oh god, we got to make that. You know, to a certain extent, you know, this is a pretty clear line that you can draw through Brace Yourself. Now, does that mean that other independent game developers, you know, can't make games the way that they do? Obviously not. There's lots of different successes that have happened inside of it. But what Brace Yourself has managed to do is create a system under which these interesting hooky games are being produced at a rate that there is a team who, you know, is satisfied enough to work there, are able to do monthly updates to 2 early access titles now, and that was from an origin as a developer who had made Crypt of the Necrodancer. And so again, there's a process of building that all together and making sure that everybody like works well together, works efficiently. Like, I cannot imagine what it is like to try and get this many people. And I mean, it's a relatively small team when you consider how good these games are. But even then, like, the credits list is growing. To try and organize that many people towards getting monthly updates towards this thing is fairly incredible. And also, I am not giving enough credit, of course, to, you know, so there's a bunch of different names that keep coming up. Matt Donatelli, I think, is the first one that I recall, although I feel like there's another one that I should be remembering for... oh, God. I feel really bad about this, because the name... I'll have to go through the Brace Yourself list again. Like, obviously, there's lots of different... Everybody kind of has different roles in terms of making sure that this stuff comes off. But again, just the idea that, you know, I don't really feel like companies come formed out of a box. So I guess what I was trying to say with that extended rant, if you will, is the idea that I believe what is being modeled inside of this game is the process of actually building that company, of organizing the factors of production in a way that will let you achieve your goal. And again, I could be wrong, right? Like, in the end, a game is going to be what you pull out of it. But But that to me would be the best justification for keeping, like, not just the, you know, make sure that the game is interesting point of view, but that there is actually a real world phenomena that's sort of being modeled inside of the game here. Although you don't have a soundtrack like this. I'm assuming that if you're actually starting a company, it's probably lots of very lonely nights and wondering where the rent's going to come from. Again, I want to try and keep my waste under control, so I'll build the receptacles as I go. I think I am going to grab another one of those minerals patches, but let's try and find a big one. Three people in your company, you have no intention of hiring more than that. People are not machines, and slavery is sadly not allowed in these days in this part of the world. Sadly. Yeah, so I mean, I not to belabor the point, maybe I should just let it drop from this one, but I suppose when I'm talking about just like organizing all of this stuff, the Tetris game to me, to a certain extent, is answering the question, like, what stops someone from hiring three people and doing what you do and like taking over? And I mean, you know your business far better than me, so I'm very much in speculative mode here. But I'm guessing part of the factor here is that like the people that you've hired work really well together, and that you've taken the effort to just try and make sure that thing's, well, as you say, it's hard to get even three people to work well together. So yeah, I think basically because an RPG system in which you have to deal with the fact that the employee over here doesn't like the color of the isotopes and they'd much rather work in the calming blue mineral patches. I think in this case here they're just just dealing with the how do you build the factory in a better way. I don't know though. Like again, I'm probably better off if I just like let the point stand. But I strongly dislike it when I'm being unclear on something. So I wanted to give it the best effort I could. All right, let's get some. I gotta need to get my act together on the factory. So I have some leftover sort of tier 2s to work with. Should probably consider getting people on this planet, but I need 3 artifacts for that. So let's go to HQ. Oh, hang on. I'm not going to have this thing up and running yet. So oh, I messed up. I gotta find a spot for the nuts. Oh no, hang on. What am I doing? There's an obvious spot for this. So I want to find a spot for the isotopes module. So I'm going to need more power for this. I have an idea for how I can make do. But I am going to need to find another place to store my garbage. Okay, so soon we're going to be able to put down a large generator. A large generator is going to generate 9, so I'm going to be able to take out these, and then we'll also have a big fuel fabricator. So one of the first things that I want to do is actually put down the fuel fabricator so that I can remove this one. Then we put down the large generator, and we can get rid of these two, and then we can replace the medium storage container with a large storage container, I think. The storage container is actually the one factor I'm not entirely sure about. Good thing of being the boss, of course, is that it's never your fault when it is, unless the fault is your wife's. Then it's always mine. Do you mind if I ask what you do? I will definitely not take it personally if you want to keep that to yourself, but I am intrigued. And as Night Valian points out, it is a rare stream that I, that I go without talking about my own job. Obviously, I am very interested in the subject that I studied and now work in, so I obviously want to allow that opportunity to express enthusiasm to others. Okay, artifact hunting. In fact, let's just shut this whole thing down. UXO, oh, that's right. Sorry, you said that before. It's huge. Gonna ask you for answers if you ever need help with your homework now. Well, I'll do my best. No promises, but I retained some of it. And so long as you don't need a modern example, I might be able to look at the old version of your textbook. You'll just hear a bunch of stuff crashing, crashing on the ground. I don't know, Econ was fun. Like, one of the things I really liked about TAing Econ was it provided a particular framework for looking at the world for people. And I'm not necessarily going to argue that it is the only or the most important framework that you can apply. But it's a little bit like, so if you are mathematically inclined, learning, having something described to you in a formula, or an equation, like basically, contrary to what our common experience in school is, being able to express something as an equation of some kind, is a clarifying exercise, not something that's designed to make you miserable. I realize this will sound like heresy, but I promise you that is your teachers were not deliberately trying to make you miserable in math class. So I want to make sure I'm making progress on my base. So it's the fuel fabricator. Once that thing gets built, we can dismantle the small one. I can start thinking about putting the large generator in place. But yeah, so like being able to, so like essentially it's one of those things where you stop kind of talking past each other as far as definitions are concerned, and because the notation is unambiguous, you're able to talk about the, you know, whether or not what's being proposed is truthful, or whether or not the conclusion necessarily follows from the premises. Some of this stuff's finished a little faster than I was expecting. I think we can afford to dismantle. Yeah, I want to make sure that I get the large generator down first, but we can fit this all in, which is good. Although I did mess up the order. So I'm going to feel a little bad about this because, you know what? We can just shut down everything. I didn't want to, but... Holy smokes, we're already at tier 3. Jesus, okay. That might make things a little complicated. I am looking for tier 2s to throw into things. I may have to settle for... Yeah, I only have tier 1 minerals. Oh, no, I've got one. One's a start. I'll be less sad about losing this one. Sorry, I was talking about the clarity of an equation, and then I got sidetracked. Right, sorry, the perspective that econ will give you. So yeah, like, but on the other hand, like, you can't just ask a mathematician every single time, like, a moral dilemma comes up. Your real analysis instructor is probably not going to tell you whether or not you are morally justified to go to war. You're probably going to have to sort that out for yourself. So... yeah, I don't know. Like, that was probably the thing I enjoyed the most about being able to TA, was to be able to present a particular way of looking at the world that I thought was very interesting and led to some, you know, led to some useful conclusions. And that essentially the exercise, for lack of a better term, was sort of to try and get... like, if people are given a particular argument inside of a newspaper, to then be able to turn around and say, you know what, I'm not entirely convinced by that. In Canada, we got an election going on right now. So, you know, obviously there's a lot of claims that get thrown around during such democratic exercises. Not necessarily all of those claims are going to be ones that have any consistency, but they, like, internal consistency, but they sure sound good. And a little bit like any subject that you study, being able to gain that perspective will hopefully make you someone who's a little bit more discerning in what they take on board. You never thought you'd end up in IT, 5 years of math at uni, and you're contemplating more. Your first job was as data analytics at an insurance company. That sounds really interesting. So I never really, like, crossed the line into even, like, I was never even remotely close to doing something like this, but I always thought being an actuary would be a really interesting job. It may not be. It might be tedious, but it seemed like the sort of thing that would be interesting. So I'm just nabbing some artifacts so I can start waking up these ruins. I think I'm going to go for the fuel first. I am also going to need to start considering my defenses. Spent a little too much time chatting and not enough organizing my security. It's not the end of the world if I wind up putting up a turret, but it would be nice if I can get the shipyard down. Okay, so we got enough to maintain. Oh, no we don't. Okay, so now I gotta think about where my extra power is coming from. So the first thing I should have thought about would have, like, it's all well and good to build a fuel turbine, but where's my energy plant? It doesn't matter if I build that. So that was really stupid of me. Let's get some... Okay, so there's going to be a few things I try to get. Tier 3 isotopes, so that I can upgrade the headquarters and build something close to the sinkhole. On top of that, I do need to get my... my worker... sorry, my... like the place for the watching the ads. I need to get my little work from home office set up reasonably quickly. But I do want to try and get these isotopes up and running. That was purely due to the money. Insurance companies live and die on accurate data, and they pay well. Yeah, I am sorely underpaid. Like, so obviously money's not everything. So like if I was really like, nobody put a gun to my head and said I had to stay where I currently am. But with that in mind, like, I definitely know that I could be making quite a bit more, doing very similar things to what I do at places that probably understand the value of the things that I do a little bit better. The temptation is always there, let's say. So yeah, I've really botched this start. I can salvage it. It's just going to require a little bit more, and I'm not sure. So one of the reasons why I want to build the second floor on the headquarters is just so that I can buy myself a little more runway on the waste. But yeah, I got to get the... so I want to get the fuel turbine and the energy depot down. That's going to mean potentially expanding out the headquarters, which is fine. That shouldn't be too hard to do. I'm also going to need a whole bunch of minerals, and then because I don't own the blueprint yet, I am going to have to actually populate my factory. The garbage is already starting. No. Just 3 more of these things. All right, let's get this thing started. I've only got 2. All right. It's a very preliminary start. Well, that's necessities taken care of. So we're already on our way to tier 3. So once this thing's processed, we'll transition to minerals, and then they'll just pick up the bits that they need. Have you seized the means of production and liquidated the bourgeois yet? Uncle Cranky, how you doing? Uncle Cranky is a communist agitator, but I mean, he's in New Zealand. They vote Labour, right? So we kind of already knew that. He's been playing a lot of Skyrim lately. I feel like I saw you playing something else, and I completely forget what it was. Which is a real shame, because I know you were... like, I was there, and I'm totally blanking on it. I guess I don't actually watch your stream. I just tell other people to watch it. Anyways, New Zealand streamer, a little bit like Night Valiant in that they're a broadcaster who I try and catch, but they also stream outside of the hours that I normally broadcast, which may be appealing to some of you because it means that you are able to, you know, to catch them if I've kind of closed off and moved on. Really, I consider you a fellow traveler, Uncle Cranky. Okay, so let's upgrade that headquarters. That's mostly so that we can get garbage storage. We will put down a... So we need 200 in terms of tier... Well, we do... Okay, so here's the important thing. It doesn't actually have to be tier 3. It just, to me, it doesn't make any sense to build it with anything but tier 3. Oh, that's right. Remnant from the Ashes. No, that's exactly what that was. Sorry, I was super excited to start. I love that I'm playing Industries of Titan again, by the way. So the local game dev meetup. I don't know exactly what happened. I have a guess that probably they were caught by surprise about the the fact that it was the Wednesday that when they normally host this stuff. So I kind of suspect that that's why that didn't happen. But as soon as I knew that I had the afternoon, I actually said, I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna start at 7," and I was like ready to go up until the second I wasn't, and then it, you know, just everything kind of came crashing down all at once. I mean, I tried to set some of it aside, but I'm just feeling a little scattered right now. Okay, I just shut off my production by upgrading the headquarters, so another not entirely smart choice on my part. But we've been full of those, and it's normal difficulty, so I have breathing room. I am somewhat inclined towards going as hard as I can on the headquarters, but given the fact that I do have the ruins, I am a little tempted to grab the artifact anomaly and just rely on our sensors to sort of tell us what's around in the area. My guess here is that I'm going to wind up putting the smokestack somewhere around here. I'm going to wind up putting like housing and jobs sort of in the top left here, and that's basically just so that I can, you know, I can have my fuel turbines and my, you know, isotope, like my isotope mining and all of that away from where the workers are going to be. Anyways, got a bunch of ruins to investigate now, and given the number of inert ruins that I want to activate, I probably should be sitting on my influence for the next little bit. When everyone's in agreement, someone needs to question. So one thing that kind of interests me about these Obsidian Ruins, they're obviously very expensive, and, you know, I kind of went to my old bad habits of, well, no, I actually don't think resource production is a bad habit, but I went to my old habit, let's say. I'm not entirely sure there's a way you can justify using Obsidian Ruins for artifacts. Seems to me that you use these things for the resources. They also look cool, so I wonder, actually I kind of wonder if it's a conscious decision to just make these things look really cool so that you can have them in your base. Like if you don't want to spend 50 influence right away, like you just have this cool looking decoration. Oh, that'd be a neat one. Like if you have an apartment beside an obsidian, like it improves the livability because you have like a cool lawn ornament. I guess there's no lawns on Titan. If you're A&R Pier, I bet you have a lawn. If you're anybody but A&R, you probably don't have a lawn. Oh, hang on. This isn't going to make a good spot for... Well, hang on. It might. No, there's a spaceport. Well, where else are they going to live? But yeah, no, this actually isn't ideal for people people live. I do, however, want to go up to the floor. I'll put, for now, just one big storage container for waste. We'll worry about the rest. You have a garden gnome in your lawn. Is that the origin of your name, or is it just a happy coincidence? But yeah, so I don't see a way that you could justify taking out Obsidian Ruins for the artifact. I'm a little surprised that I haven't started working the artifact anomalies yet, given the number of inert ruins that I can activate. But I think that's just how that turned out. Unfortunately, what it has translated into is me not putting any effort into building storage space for things. So how are we looking on the tier 2? Not looking great. Let's at least get a battery down. Yeah, we'll do a fuel tank as well. Conveniently, we'll put some tier 2 isotopes in the stack as well. Name is the origin of the garden gnome, not the other way around. Okay, so you had to... It's Chekhov's gnome. Once you start claiming the existence of gnomes, you have to actually have photographic evidence. That worked a lot better in my head. I don't think the reference quite landed. Okay, it's gonna pain me to do this, but I am gonna be disciplined. No, I'm not gonna be disciplined. I need power. So I go for the artifacts. Yep, 3 artifacts works for me. So this one's going to be a bit of a bear to defend. But having a whole bunch of fuel that I can store early on is really good. Yep. Seeing what that did to the threat meter, though, I think we're going to leave that be. So yeah, this is what the inert battery looks like after you activate it. Looks a little more conventional, as Night Valiant put it. The gamer LEDs are no longer present.
Survey complete. Survey complete.
Okay, so what's going on with the factory? Why don't we have... That's why we don't. Okay. Olaf, thank you very much for the host. Wife wants to watch some TV, so you'll be lurking. All right. I hope you enjoy whatever TV you're watching, Index Gnome. I've actually been watching The Americans lately. That's a really interesting series. I hope you have a good one. Thanks for hanging out, and thank you for the lurk. They help my numbers. I'm doing all right, Olaf. It's a new patch for Industries of Titan, so that's always exciting. And then on top of that, hang on. Let's not go crazy. So I currently have a surplus of 2 fuel, so it would be better for me to build a medium generator. But yeah, Industries of Titan releases are always good news in my books, so we're getting our capitalism on. Although I was late in starting. So the hope is that I'll be putting down a conversion capsule before too long. Why not put it down now? What have you been up to lately? I feel like it's been a while since our paths have crossed, but that's... Given the fact that we live on entirely different continents, that is perhaps not a surprising statement. So yeah, one of the problems I'm running into right now is just not enough workers. I'll convert people... I would have liked to have done... Oh, yeah, so I got to do this before the end of the day, otherwise the whole reason for leaving this money aside is completely pointless.
Device complete.
And then eventually, when I can, we will build the fuel turbine. And we will also hopefully have enough money to be able to buy a... energy... You're in hospital for a week, and then... a week and a half since some pretty hefty surgery. But you're home again now and recovering. First of all, I am very sorry to hear that. I know you've been working on it. Like, it's been an ongoing thing. So I am sure... Like, I have to... Without assuming your situation too much, I have to assume to a certain extent you get people who genuinely wish you well, but are probably like me in as soon as they hear hospital, they're like, my God, you know, I hope you're okay. You mean the world to me, Olaf. You know, everything that I wanted to say to you before you shuffle off this mortal coil, I'm now going to express at this moment. And it's like, well, you can go to the hospital for things that are not terminal. So I want to wish you well without necessarily assuming that you are, you know, about to exit. But I'm still sorry to hear that you're going through all that. But that said, you mean the world to me, Olaf, and I hope, you know, I'll now write you a 600 paragraph essay outlining exactly, you know, how the stream will never be the same. Okay, let's get that fuel turbine up. I will confess, I would actually kind of like to have some more tier 3 minerals, but for the time being, I'm content to churn out some tier 2s. I also think we need to have at least one dedicated worker to cleaning up waste. Oh, I'm a dummy. I need citizens to convert. I don't know if it's been a while or if I'm just being really scatterbrains tonight, but I'm making some really boneheaded moves. Never seems to end. You feel you live there a lot, but yeah, it is pretty major stuff. You weren't really talking about, but you are kind of in a more okay place to talk about it. So you can hit you up in DMs about it rather than downing chat with it all. I mean, so clearly the most important thing here is comfort levels. So if you are comfortable talking about it in a more public chat, please don't hold back on my account. But of course, you know that my DMs are open, and you know, like, you're not just the cool mod for somebody who I met in, you know, in Vancouver. Like, you know, we have a rapport. I would like to make sure that you're doing all right. So yes, like, definitely ping me on DMs. We can chat. Okay, what's the deal with my energy bridge? Did we really use up all the power already? So I'm just trying to get as many habitat pods as I can to seed the colony with potential workers. You can focus on them making money after they clear out my... I guess we can start them off with well, like, we can't start them off with jobs now, but... if only this relay was produced. Well, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 2, 1. No! Oh, that was so close. That would have perfectly fit. Ah! Where are the tier 2 minerals going? Oh, shame on me. Oh dear. Olaf, I am so sorry to hear that. That is actually quite a bit more serious than I thought. So I apologize. I definitely thought that you were in for more minor stuff. Means a lot to have people wishing you well. Well, I'm glad that I can at least balance out my idiocy in chat. For you know, being able to express that. But yeah, no, man, Olaf, I am glad that you are feeling I'm glad that you're feeling better than you were previously, now that I know the context for that. So that is definitely something that has touched my family quite a bit. So I appreciate you sharing. Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of these ones where... did you ever watch a movie, A Fish Called Wanda? I realize that is an extremely strange transition, but I'm going somewhere with this. Seven will do. Love that film, yeah. So let me actually find the specific quote. Oh yeah, there we go. So Archie and Wanda. So Archie, Wanda, do you have any idea what it's like being English, being so correct all the time, being so stifled by the dread of doing the wrong thing, of saying to someone, "Are you married?" and hearing, "My wife left me this morning," or saying, "Do you have any children?" and then being told they all burned to death on Wednesday. See, Wanda, we're all terrified of embarrassment. That's why we're all so dead. Most of my friends are dead, you know. We have these piles of corpses to dinner, but you're alive, God bless you, and I want to be. I'm so fed up with all of this. But yeah, no, the line of it's like, "Do you have any children?" is like they all burned to death on Wednesday, and I'm like, as somebody who has definitely, paralyzed by social embarrassment. I like that. I like that monologue quite a bit. Ah, nuts! I did this wrong. The pods for the workers are fine, but the habitat pod was one off. That's an HQ job. All right, make me minions. So we're draining batteries. I'm gonna let this thing run for as long as I can. And again, the key is to get as many people. So I need two for the monetization station. There we go. That's 3 and 3. And then the good news is that it's symmetrical. So as long as I get one version of this down, then we're good. I am gonna need the relays, but. So what about you? Much been happening in the world. System Shock, how's work been? Work's been a bit mixed. I did have a big presentation. So there's I'm doing some more production-oriented stuff. My old role used to be very almost primarily, in title, primarily analysis. I feel I was not given as many analytical opportunities as I would have liked. But God, I sound like such a terrible worker who's just complaining about the place all the time. But with that in mind, it was very touch and go. I definitely inherited a process that left much to be desired, in my opinion. And so it was nice to be able to get that thing squared away. We did have a couple people who... So I personally do not ever like it when people wind up working any longer than what they signed up for. And unfortunately, we did have a little bit of that. So I suppose that is the economic version of crunch. Well, crunch is crunch no matter where you are, I suppose. But we got through it. And I believe I am going to be given a bit of free rein in terms of just improving the process overall, because, I don't know, I think it is very silly that I just think most of the stuff that we look... okay, so the argument I sort of made to try and justify the changes that I want to put in is that if... In a hypothetical situation where somebody comes in and says, a miracle has occurred, and the last quarter is literally identical in every possible way to the other quarter. Oh, I didn't set the headquarters for waste cleanup, did I? Silly me. I was wondering why people weren't cleaning stuff up. We would actually need to take the same number of steps and probably have just as many mistakes and problems to deal with as we would if it was just a brand new, excuse me, like a brand new analysis. And that's weird to me. It probably shouldn't be that way. So it was definitely a hard job this particular time around, but I feel that we have a little more control over our destiny. So, man, I didn't even put people in the turbine. I'm slipping. I do need to keep on an eye on the rebel threat level. But yeah, so I guess when you have a big nasty job, and you don't necessarily feel that there are any guarantees that that job will be finished, it is definitely very, you can breathe this. It's nice to breathe a sigh of relief, and know that it's done. So things are overall good, although I will confess that I'm rather scatterbrained. So here I am going to be running a deficit. I clearly do not have enough jobs available for my to sustain my existing workforce. But this is also just so that I can get people. Like at this point, I just want to get people in the base and working. Okay, this is probably not smart of me, but I am going to upgrade. So this cuts off all of my power. And then I can't remember, but in terms of DMs, we can chat exactly where. But I did have an initial interview for a gaming data job, which we'll see where it goes. I am somewhat. I think I'm probably less likely to get it than the initial interview going well would imply. But it is actually the first time that I've had a company look at my resume and say, this is somebody worth interviewing. Which, given the fact that I actually think I have a pretty decent resume, like in terms of the stuff that I've done, I have a friend who is very kind about my qualifications, let's say. It is slightly, it hurts the ego to know that the gaming companies don't think of me quite the same way I do. Oh, that's interesting. We are almost able to afford our workers. If only I didn't completely kill my power. Yeah, I was actually told some somewhat not heartwarming, but like something somewhat encouraging news, which is that the initial interview is basically just a signal as to whether or not the person responsible for that screening understood your resume in the context of the job. They don't necessarily know what the job entails. So I'm obviously a weird choice. And if you have a lot of people applying for a given role, weird choices are not necessarily ones that you want to put a lot of effort into. So having that as context, for me at least, is nice, because it means that it's not necessarily about me. It does still mean that obviously there's always room for improvement. I want to make sure that I'm doing as many projects as I can, making myself useful, becoming familiar with the way things are done outside of my existing context. But, knowing that it wasn't necessarily the fact that apparently I've totally forgotten how to do a resume or something, but just a quirk of sort of how these roles get selected, was encouraging. And I mean, there's also more to life than work, so. Also, I've been reading, so I talked about this book before, and I had sort of started it, and then I had to set it aside for a little while, but I am reading a really, really, really good book, which I highly recommend to all of you. It is called The Daughters of Kobani by Gailsmatch Littman. For those of you that read one of the, I think it's the most recent blog that I wrote, you know that that is actually mentioned inside of it. So if you want to see the writing, and it's like it's only gotten better since I started reading it. It is essentially about this all women's resistance group. So there's a whole backstory in terms of you know, the Kurds and this particular very left-wing movement to bring about well, all sorts of I mean, I guess we would call it social justice. But needless to like, there's quite a bit to unpack in terms of the intellectual origins. But suffice to say, it is as far as a simplification of what it is about. It's essentially this all-female group of fighters that handed ISIS, like the Islamic State, their first battlefield defeat at Kobani. And the more I read it, the more insane the details get. Like, I swear these women are out of girls in some cases are straight out of a first-person shooter. It is absolutely preposterous, the near-death, moments, as well as just the there's definitely some wry humor in some moments, particularly given the group that they're fighting's views on women and their role. I definitely have had more than a couple of moments where I chuckle. I'm not entirely sure if it's appropriate or inappropriate to sort of laugh because of the dark subject matter, but there's just definitely some fun stuff inside of it. But yeah, just an absolutely incredible story, and I suffice to say, it was one of these things that I was aware of, but I feel like Gail Samach-Lemon is a very talented writer. She definitely has a gift for storytelling, and of course, it is it's a story and a bit of recent history that I think is an important story to be told. And I mean, again, obviously, the subject matter, you'd swear that these are characters that have come out of some post-feminist literature class or something like that. But it is both an extremely readable book and a very so in addition to just being a ripping good yarn, it is, because it is nonfiction, you learn something. Despite myself, I occasionally stop playing video games and actually try to learn about the world. And now Uncle Cranky's quietly fuming at my discussion of left-wing political movements in the Middle East. Okay. We need to get to 1,000, which we are not going to. Wait, yes we are. Saved. Alright, I have now made up for my first mistake. Oh, and we're really close to building this. Alright, things are looking up. Actually, if any of you are interested in that book and are having trouble finding it, let me know. I will go and get that book, and I will get the ISBN number for it. Yeah, no, it's in terms of non-work news, that has been a really rewarding read. Okay, so we do need to prep for the the first rebel threat. In a perfect world, I would build a a shipyard. It is not at all clear that I'm going to be able to get away with it. Also, what on earth is wrong with me? Keep making workers. I don't exactly need the cash right now. Oh yeah, no, this is gonna... That's gonna slowly collapse on itself, so let's just get out of here and get the power plant up. Probably my best bet at this point is just drop a power plant in the middle here and then upgrade the pylon. So we're on leisure. Let's upgrade that. Nope. Now we'll upgrade it. And let's put down... You're kidding me. Uh, 19... Yeah, so I mean we're blessed with lots of resources. Hashtag blessed. No, I mean obviously that's the map. Like it's this is one of the reasons why you do these kinds of starts. You get a whole lot of really cool toys to play with right away. But I haven't been like I could be doing a better job of making sure that I'm getting what I need at the right times. Do I really want to have... Yeah, let's do it. This is debating as to whether or not... Oh, failed to pay employees. Right, so no more conversions for the next little bit. Hey, there's a ruin monument. Oh, you can only use tier 3 minerals and isotope 1s. Oh, that's a really interesting restrict. Man, the idea of only using isotope 1 is a really, really interesting restriction, especially at 36. Because isotopes are very valuable. I guess it's another way of preventing us from getting a little too eager on our upgrade paths.
Survey complete. Survey complete. Survey complete.
Do I want the... I guess I don't really need the pylon right now. So what I'm trying to think about is how do I prep for the bad guys? Do I clear out all of these ruins really quickly? Do I
Survey complete.
do I try and find other space? This is definitely a very likely candidate. Unfortunately, the artifacts here... So if I'd been thinking, I would have actually started on this artifact anomaly because this would have... Oh, actually, you know what? If I can blow up the Obsidian Ruins, we can claim this empty plot. This becomes my new spaceport.
Survey complete.
Also means that I'm able to defend all of these ruins here, so I'm going to be able to go nuts and activate them all. So that's what we're going to do.
Survey complete. Survey complete.
Get in there. So yeah, I do apologize, by the way. I know I've been very chatty and I've not been playing very well lately. But it is, I will confess, this is actually one thing I like. So one thing I really like about Industries of Titan, like just in terms of my preferences for playing either these kinds of games, that's a complete lie that it doesn't have enough fuel. Zero 12. Give me a break. Let's speed this up and make sure it's not just a worker thing. No, that seems to be a legit... Nope, okay, there we go. I was just being impatient. But yeah, so one of the things I really like about normal, or like, and generally playing games like this, like the building things part is a really big appeal to me. And so being able to, like just being able to take my time, you know, as I like saying, you know, just to stop and smell the roses, that is something that kind of keeps me coming back to these types of games. It's one of the reasons why I can enjoy hard mode quite a bit, because of the ship. So the challenge of having to think through the ship to ship combat is very enjoyable in its own way. Obviously, if you like FTL, presumably you'll like Industries of Titan in that regard. But to me, it's a little bit more than that. It's, you know, like just the pressure of having to sort of deal with the imminent threat. And then, of course, last time I gave myself the sort of the self-imposed challenge of doing so without building any turrets. Overall, just I kind of think that's a very interesting way to play. But it is not necessarily conducive to just being like, hey, you know, watch this big base build out. I was actually finding it very hard to justify building offices and, you know, and residences and such, just because it was, you know, that was resources that were being directed away from the war effort, and clearly I wanted to take out the enemy bases as early as I could. So what this is going to let me do here is, so first of all, you know, I can chat, I can talk about other stuff that's going on, and be able to say, okay, you know, I made a mistake, but here's how we're going to correct it. And it's not fatal to the playthrough. But with that in mind, I probably have also developed some bad habits by, you know, not respecting some of that stuff. So I don't know, though. As much as I like the ship-to-ship combat, like, I think the thing that keeps me coming back to this is definitely the city building and the factory building part. I like the combat, but I don't necessarily think it is the main driver of my interest in the game. So generally, if I consider the trade-off between hard and normal, I'm going to generally tilt towards normal, simply because it means, like, it's just more in line with the things that I find finding. You super Chad, how's it going? How is my appreciation of the update? Laryl55, I'm liking the new update. I'm playing on normal this time around, and I've been very chatty and letting myself make some mistakes, so that I think was the right call. I'm very intrigued by some of the new buildings. And I mean, the thing is that I've definitely felt, I mean, I think the roadmap has made this fairly clear. It's been, I think I'm really going to be able to appreciate all of this stuff in next month's update, when the final entry in the trilogy arrives with the tech tree. It definitely has felt like this has been building towards, towards something big. But to be able to just have something like the Obsidian Ruins, to see how expensive they are, and then to also realize, like, this is 4 is reasonably tempting until you look at that 100 price. But like to see a 50, oh, this one doesn't count. This one though, like 1 artifact for 50, like to have something that is very clearly designed for resource extraction, and if you have a good production line in place. So I kind of fell into my old habits of like just building things in a particular way. It's kind of interesting to see how this all played out, because did I pay my, I can't remember if we're still in the same cycle where I didn't pay my workers. I think we are, but yeah. But yeah, so the thing that's neat about these to me is like if you have a good production line in place, it's kind of hard to justify removing the 50 influence. And so you're in this situation where it almost seems like the Obsidian Ruins can sometimes be obstacles just because of the amount of influence that it takes to remove it. And I like, it's neat. Like if you consider this area, this is going to be where I want to put my shipyard. But I can't go over these ruins because of the sensor range. I can't go over these ruins because of the sense. Well, I mean, I guess these get me something very similar. These Obsidian Ruins are in the way. So, like, I basically I want to spend 50 influence just to clear this thing out so that I can get it cleared out of the way. So yeah, I don't know. It's not I don't think it's a surprise to anyone to know that I am a big fan of Industries of Titan, but I definitely think these updates have brought some interesting stuff. I'm not sure this is the right call. But I am going to put down another fuel turbine. That's going to be in prep for another energy plant. Nope, that's not the right call. Because if I do that, then I can't build my shipyard, and I'm already going to be short on components for my weapons of war. It is, however, rather questionable that I haven't turned everything else on. And then as a secondary consideration, should probably get space for a second waste receptacle. Clearly I've kind of messed up in terms of getting the smokestack ready to go. Okay. This is welcome. I actually kind of want to see this thing go down. But what have you thought of the latest couple of updates, Laryl? I'm obviously new. I actually want to see who the rebel leader that we're dealing with is. But I think because I kind of self-identify as a super fan, I'm curious what people think of some of the changes. I guess that's one of the reasons why I check out the Discord. Well, okay, the reason I go on the Discord is because the people who work at Brace Yourself are so cool. But one of the other reasons is it's neat to see people's perspectives, and I think that is something of a statement of Steam reviews that I choose to go to the community Discord as opposed to the reviews to find out what people think. Actually, here's one thing I'm curious about. Okay, actually, there's a lot of things that I'm curious about, but from a Industries of Titan point of view, I'm very curious about this particular one. The I'm wasting so many isotope CUs doing all these buildings, but with the addition of, so like over the last little while, there's been the addition of a bunch of different sort of resources and different objects on the map. So ruin monuments have been on the map before. Looks like there's 2 now. Oh, I just had a realization. Oh my goodness, this is going to be wonderful. We are going to be making pots of influence. And yes, I'm 100% going to do this. But, oh, this is interesting. So it says 36 CU. Oh, no, but only using a... Oh, neat. Okay, so it does it by different types? Or was I misreading? Oh, no. Okay, sorry. Yes, I was misreading this. So if I flip to the standard... Okay, yeah. So it's not an interesting restriction that they imposed. It was me misreading things. Sorry, for some reason I thought they like really wanted you to use certain types of resources. I'm like, wow, what an unusual choice. But that's kind of neat that now I need to balance my production. It's kind of the idea of like specialized resources to go into production without introducing a new resource type. Sorry, again, I lost the plot because I got distracted. I'm a little curious. So I know there's map generation. I think that's one of the things Ryan Clark did on this game, actually. And what I'm curious about is in the context of a game like Industries of Titan. So you have the first version of the game where there's no... well, actually, I guess so for most versions of this game, you haven't really needed to worry too much about what's in the ruins because it's always been tier 1. Now with the introduction of Obsidian Ruins, you've got tier 2 and tier 3 resources. And then you've got inert ruins, which are powerful buildings. You now have the monuments, which are going to be tied to victory conditions. What are the other changes on the map? I know there's been like different obstacle types, but I kind of feel like you can sort of translate certain clusters of rocks. Like I don't feel like that's as big of a change. But clearly these maps are generated under a set of rules. You're going to want to have a certain kind of play experience that comes from these things. I would imagine, at least. And so I'm curious if the procedural generation gets tweaked or has to be changed in response to the introduction of things like Obsidian Ruins, or if the procedural generation was always built for these different landscape types. Or if it's just, well, yes, there may be, might be some maps where it's a little bit easier than others, but by and large, we're fairly happy with where the balance is. I mean, I'm assuming game developers don't think that way because while it is true that it's probably like 1 in a million that, somebody gets the map where the only crevices are like in the top right-hand corner, I'm also going to guess that an unhappy customer is an unhappy customer and they want to like take care of it. Like, I don't think anybody's going to argue that procedural generation is the quote-unquote easy way out. It's like, it's just all random and don't worry about it. I'm pretty sure those games are just not fun to play. But yeah, so I'm kind of curious, like, does the generation get tweaked based on these new territory types? Was it built with, like, what was the vision for these sorts of things in place when that system was already created? And is the impact as large as I think it is? Because again, like, if they're tying this to victory conditions, I'm going to assume that that's going to have a fairly profound effect on the game. But we will see. I suppose these are what pass for Twitch shower thoughts. Okay. I'm not entirely sure I need to be mining any more resources right now. I could save up for the extra artifacts, which is very tempting. Currently have idle workers, which is depressing. And I'm very conflicted about building the rest of this. Obviously not that conflicted though. So the thing is I need to also put these resources towards the construction of a ship. I forgot to. So this is why my workers haven't been doing stuff. Forgot to tell them to clean. Oh, and that's why the shipyard's been taking so long. Okay, so I don't mind fast forwarding for this one just because I was being a dummy. Once we finish the ship, I'm going to get the factory working on another production line. We've got simply too many workers not to have sort of full lines running. And then I am long overdue for a smokestack, although it wouldn't hurt to upgrade the energy pylon. We'll do that after the work. Well, actually, you know what? We're not just going to do that after work. We're going to do that after the shipyard is built and we have a ship in the sky. Because if we don't, that 9% is going to close and we are going to be very sad. So I think it's a little much to expect that I'm gonna buy a special hull. I'm a little surprised we're draining batteries, but that makes sense. Okay, so first is... Oh, this is neat. Oh, we can afford a better hull. I don't know. I feel like the Goshawk can handle this. A small but reliable ship is a favorite among young corporations and packs a surprising punch. And the Harpagus... Well, the Harpagus is something that we could get away with, I think. Wow. I wonder what caused that. Okay, so we definitely hurt our threat level by neglecting to... Okay, you know what? I'm going to try the Harpagus. The crew inside the kite... Oop. Congratulations to Power Up. I mean, sure, I don't know if this is just wasting their bandwidth, but if it's prompting me for a save file, I tend to just say yes automatically. Okay, crew inside the kite must remain crouched at all times due to most of the cramped ship being used for equipment. But yeah, we are going to select this hull. And this is 100% a priority. My god, I do not know. I think I'm just gonna clip that. So that's at 231. I'm assuming you all heard that, like the sound that that it was making when I was switching between the. I just don't know how I would describe that in writing. So I figure if I send a clip, it'll be something that they can trace. At least in my headphones, it was very loud. Should probably name these things. So does anybody have a name that they would like to use for? Oh yeah, so I'll leave this open while we're building stuff. I am looking for names for a factory dedicated to sort of the refining and processing of minerals and such. I'm looking for a name for a sort of work-oriented building. I am looking for the name of a shipyard, and I have some ideas for all of these, but I believe. Oh yeah, and my headquarters. But I believe in giving people options. We've been bamboozled. There wasn't somebody in there after all. So I'm fine with this garbage. It's actually more the it's more the ones on the factory. Okay, so I am gonna need some. I'm gonna need a little bit of time to think about my approach. So I'm somewhat inclined to go towards medium lasers. I wasn't entirely satisfied. Okay, so it seems to be going into the shipyard is what provokes that sound.
Cannot build here.
The hell you can't build there. Okay, look, it's not great, but yikes. This is not my favorite choice, but I'll work with it. So I'm gonna need 4 energy. Stick a couple engines in there. Clearly we need life support. So I suppose the question becomes, so if it's 4, 5, 6, we can just cover it with a medium generator. But then there isn't any room for a surplus. You know what? We can live with that. I'm just trying to think about the best way to lay this all out. I can live with that. I'm pretty sure we can afford the small fuel fabricator, so... Ooh, it's gonna be a tight fit. So there's other things I could do with this layout to make it a little bit better, but let's just focus on getting down the relays. So I guess the question is, do I want redundancies in my relays, or do I live dangerously? Oh man, so that covers everything, huh? I gotta figure out where to put my fuel now, but actually, the more I think of it, this looks ugly, but it actually works. Sorry. Okay. Oh yes, I need to put down a another crew pod. So now I have all this free space. I could probably put the life support down here, because I already have critical systems that are close to each other. Actually, I'm sure I will come to regret this space-wise in a minute, but... And I don't have any resources left over for my batteries and such. Now this is really dumb. Because what is the point of having power relays if I'm going to put fuel in the middle? This, of course, is a perfect place to target so that it can blow up. Where else am I going to put it, though? So, nice big tank of fuel beside the medium generator. Why not? And we are now going to build one battery. And we will hope the rebels do not attack. Oh, Hephaestus for residential. So there isn't really a worker place. But yeah, we can do mythological names. Ooh, or we could put regions for philosophy. Anyways, yeah, so this will be the factory line, so we'll call that Hephaestus for I'm trying to think, how much do I want to commit to the myth thing? The Nietzsche word. Well, Nietzsche was a philologist. It's called Factory for the Will to Power.
Council sympathizers,
Hey!
consider this a courtesy. courtesy warning. We've been watching you for a while. You're a true council loyalist, aren't you? Working hard for the regime, supporting them with your time, your soldiers, and your wealth. So, we'll do you a favor. We'll treat you the same way we treat them.
I see you've met one of our local pests founders, Zoran Gorak, the leader of a rebel faction hell-bent on destroying what we've built here. He's a madman, lives out in the ruins, survives by looting council investments. He may talk himself up, but the rebellion are small fry, really. I'm sure you can dispatch of him quickly. Maybe. So here we really just need to wait out the construction. I feel terrible doing it, but this is the best way to get out of my predicament. It's a little too late in doing a few things. I hope I spelled that right. I did get it wrong. Oh, come on. Oh no, apparently it's a totally different spelling. Although even then, I guess technically renaming the spaceport to that might be more appropriate. There's no rush, guys. I'm a bonehead. We may have to launch this thing without a medical pod. I'm doubly a bonehead. No life support. What is wrong with me? Okay, well. I'm not proud of it, but this'll have to do. Oh, Jesus. This one's probably pretty easy to assign. Not exactly. I guess Athens is the naval power, but whatever. I hate having to do this. Oh God, what now? What's not hooked up? Not connected to other devices' buildings. Probably let those batteries charge for a bit. Where's Lox and what are they doing? Oh! I really need to think through my ship designs more often. Okay, I'm also... Yeah, just... I'm not sure your priorities are quite where they need to be right now. I think just hitting the weapons at this point is probably the best way for me to stop the damage. This is the first combat. The other thing I probably didn't say, I should have said at the moment. Ah, you lucky. Really like the voice acting for the new rebel leader. It's definitely put their all into it. All right. I'll just set that on autopilot. So, maybe not my finest hour as far as military leadership goes, but we got the job done. I'm gonna upgrade the energy pylon here, mostly just because I can. Let's get physics conversion done. And then I'm going to start building the smokestack. Yeah, we just have enough. So the ideal will be to build it here, as far away as possible. I mean, I guess I could also get away building it here, seeing as it's already going to be the pollution from the mineral node. This is slightly further away though, so... I could have timed that better. The factory's sitting idle right now. I could be repairing Feistus. I don't know if you approve of the other names, Olaf, but if you have any changes, or if chat has any changes that they would like to see, I am perfectly happy to accommodate. Does anyone of a classical temperament know the significance of the Piraeus without looking it up? There's no problem if you have you have to learn something somewhere. So like obviously there's no shame in looking it up. I'm just curious if that is a reference that is known to people from memory. Or studies, or however else anyone. I mean, obviously, I didn't know how to spell it, so. Influence is going to be a problem, and the waste is now a problem too. God is lightning. If it is, it's a reference I wouldn't be familiar with. The Piraeus is where Socrates meets. Basically, at the start of Republic, Plato's Republic. The Piraeus is where Socrates.
Should have known a council sympathizer like you would fight dirty. You're all the same. We'll be back. Our cause is just, and there are more of us than there are of you.
Hey, Founder, I know our council contact says Gorak is nothing to worry about. But anybody with that kind of firepower seems pretty dangerous to me. We should prepare for another attack.
Anyway, sorry. It's basically the opening lines of the dialogue, but basically it's where the opening happens, or maybe he's just coming back from it. he's visiting with Glaucon and the older man. Is it Polemarchus? Anyways, they're actually, there's kind of the thing that's neat about that particular start is the theme is kind of already introduced with the way that they're by the fact that it's a friendly invitation at the start, but it also carries with it the very clear implication, like, but if you don't come, we're gonna force you. So obviously that has a bit of a bearing on the rest of the dialogue. So obviously I'm kind of skirting the edge of myth by putting Sparta, and I mean Sparta is a very obvious name. But I don't want to call it Thermopylae. That's not reading to the end of the book. Thermopylae is a defeat. But yeah, I figured, it would be I figured it was close enough to the material that it would work. But of course, this is why, as you see, it's the harbor, so the spaceport would in fact be more appropriate. Anyways, I went to college, can't you tell? Let's get rid of this battery. Actually, what's really cool is I don't know that much about Norse mythology, but every time I play Phantom Brigade, I learn a little bit more from chat. Although the game is decent at supplying that as well. Okay. Quite long enough, so let's do expansion. I'm kind of curious to see how this turns out. I'll probably just put a couple of fuel tanks there. This is not my favorite layout. There's definitely a couple of things which I messed up on. I think I am going to save it as a blueprint, though. So I don't feel I need the isotopes right now. I'm going to dismantle the relevant components, and I'm going to start getting the second track up and running. At least as much of it as I can. So one of the reasons I'm taking the time to build one of the reasons I'm taking the time to build this out is I actually want to spend I would like to spend more time sort of pulling resources out of the ground. I figure it's kind of a waste if I have a start like this and don't. Oh, come on. And then don't take advantage of the surplus resources on the ground. Okay. It's also kind of neat just to see the different ship designs, like, because I'm very set in my ways on a few of these. Okay, we should be able to turn all the devices on. Gonna do a little exploring. We are at the 3-hour mark, so I was kind of hoping... So I'll admit, I was hoping to make more progress than I really did, but that's just kind of on me for some of the digressions and all of that. That's not really anything to do with I don't think I quite want to fight the rebels here. Maybe just get a clearer idea of the boundaries. I am actually... I'm kind of curious if I can take out the lower level HQ with a couple medium lasers. Stop! I don't have that much money. Oh man, that looks really cool with the way the light works. I wonder... I feel like we had a little more green. Yeah, if you get the angle just right. It makes it hard to compose though. I mean, I can go super arty and try and get as close as possible and just go for the color. Can I use the gamepad to get a little more? Oh, you can use the gamepad. Oh, but I can't use it quite the way I... can't quite use it the way I wanted. So my ideal really would actually be to take a video and to do just a little something like where you're slowly panning sort of left to right, so you'll be able to see all the different colors against the obsidian. And I know why I'm not allowed to go lower, but oh man, is this a game where I really want to go low so I can get Saturn in the background? I'm trying to find a way that I can show Saturn in the background, all the glorious colors of this thing. Yeah, this might work. Problem is that it's not really obvious where your eye is supposed to be going on this thing. Like, you can follow the rule of thirds, but like, it's maybe not so clear that you're supposed to be looking at. I can't remember if it's possible to. Oops. I don't think it's possible to move the camera up. Oh, you can. Nope. Yep, you definitely can. You know, there's some possibilities here. I'm also wondering too if, you know, like just for post-processing, instead of trying to go for the standard angle, like if you just chop it off, I guess about here and go for the square. Trying to give you an idea of what that frame would look like. Yeah, this actually has some potential too. Okay, I'm sorry to do this. I really do not like that blue outline around the ship. I mean, this already looks beautiful and colorful on its own. But I really do want to try and get at least an idea of that color we saw on the... Apparently I'm hitting the edge of the map and I don't even know it. Oh god, this is going to be hard to compose again, isn't it? Okay, so that's as compressed as I can get it, but then stuff gets in the way. So if I open up the field of view a little bit. Yeah, so I guess the wider angle is the... Oh, we even get a little color on the... Can I get more Saturn in this? So I'd love to go as intense as I can on vignettes, but that kills Saturn, so let's just make sure we get a hint of the planet without getting too overbearing on the red. It's easy to overdo it on the grain. I don't think I want to mess with the tint, seeing as we already get to enjoy what's already on the tile. Again, if I mess with the temperature, I have a feeling, yeah. It's a little too sensitive. Oh, this is a hard one. I'm not getting those nice colors on the Obsidian anymore, am I? Probably in another life I would have maybe tried to pose that ship as well. And I think I probably overdid it a bit on the contrast because we do want to see. I mean, the fog's not bad on its own. I can't remember if there was a... I don't remember if this one had a depth of field. I don't think it does. Field of view, exposure, contrast, temperature, tint, saturate. Oh yeah, we have filters. So obviously... Oh wow, actually that makes the obsidian pop a little bit more. I don't know, is this worth taking? This is definitely a better... So this captured the obsidian better. This was the mistake shot, like the framing is nuts, but problem here is that I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be looking at here either, because all the cool like buildings and lights and all of that, first of all, it's distorted a bit by the noise. The filter messes around. Well, it's probably not the filter that's messing with that, but like, yeah, it's more about ruins than it is about the city. So, I don't know. I'll figure out how to make good-looking pictures next time. Okay, so we're building the pylon. We are pretty boxed in, it looks like. Next priority, once everything is repaired, is going to be a logistics building. Because I want roadways. I don't think so command centers would hurt either, but one thing at a time. Okay, so I'm going to claim the ruins that give me storage. I do want the sensor range ones, just not right away. Wow, there's a lot of them. I can already see where the rest of the the stuff is. But I think I'm going to say, I know I said this earlier, but I think I'm going to have to call it here because of the later start. I apologize for not doing a little bit more of Industries of Titan. Here's my overall plan for the oncoming week. So I didn't think I was going to be streaming today because of the Dirty Rectangles local game dev meetup, which I do like to try and support when I can. That'll likely be happening next week. Actually, I think they've officially said it'll be happening next week. So it is possible that I will not be streaming next Wednesday. I will be streaming on Friday. And then what I might try and do, Thursday streams for both Boyfriend Dungeon and Industries of Titan. Needless to say, especially with all the new stuff added in this one, I do want to make sure I do a nice full run, particularly at normal difficulty. And if we can swing it, I'd actually also like to get a timed contract in. So the next episode will probably be a little bit more focused on like getting stuff done. I'm kind of interested in seeing if I can take some of the military lessons that I learned from... oh wow, those really jump up the threat level. I guess it makes sense because the storage capacity is worth something in this game. So we're probably going to see it jump again when we get this one. But yeah, no, I definitely want to play with the new toys. So let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do over the next week. let's say next Wednesday, if I stream, it will be a little bit earlier and shorter. For those of you who like watching my stuff, I will definitely be back for Friday. And then so after next week, my whole reign of error, as far as just, stuff not happening at the time that it normally does, that will end. I will still be a little stressed out with work. There will still be all of those sort of secondary considerations. But as far as the practical matter of, here are things that I want to do, those will be, all of the sort of secondary things will be handled. Also, I think voting... No, I don't think I can vote tomorrow, but day after I can vote, so I won't even need to do the election. But there was a debate tonight, which I suspect is going to be very unedifying, but I will watch anyway. But yeah, I am done for tonight. I like Industries of Titan. I also really like Brace Yourself, so... If you haven't bought the game already, I like it a lot, and I think it's worth it right now. At the very least, wishlist. No, Brace Yourself are really special developers. They did obviously give me a key for promotional purposes, but if you are not hanging out in their Discord, I highly recommend that you do so. They are quite active in it. If you want to talk with the people who have made the game, who support the people, well, there's it seems that there is some flexibility in terms of what people work on. So even people who are not directly tied to Brace Yourself, well, I know there are people outside of Brace Yourself working on this, but what I meant to say was even people who are working on Phantom Brigade apparently are kind of crossing over to help out with Titan. In fact, here are those people. But actually, I'm looking for the producer name that I got wrong. Okay, Andy Nguyen's also project manager. I messed up, didn't I? I said the name of the... Oh no, there's Matt. Yeah, okay. I'm not totally out to lunch. Anyways, like I said, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Brace Yourself games, and my review says this on Steam as well. A very large part of the, to me at least, a very large part of the of the experience of playing Industries of Titan has not just been to, play a cool city builder, that, so there's the sim elements, there's the FTL-like elements. It's, it is kind of its own thing, and it's kept growing since I've been playing it. But obviously to be able to have the level of interaction with not just Brace Yourself, who, clearly, I'm sure if I was making something like this, I would think the only thing that's worth my time is, working on the game, because it's a super cool game, and obviously it's got a very ambitious list of things that it wants to do. But they'll do things. They had Gartic Phone on their Twitch channel, for instance, and again, they are very good at interacting with their fans. And then, of course, because it's a cool game by cool developers, the Discord has definitely, it's grown, and it's a very pleasant place to hang out, which is not necessarily something you can always say about the internet. So they've done a good job of sort of building up a community, and particularly if you are having difficulty with the game, I feel like you can get an answer reasonably quickly inside of that Discord. So I know everybody has a Discord now. I have a Discord. It doesn't get used very often, and it's my responsibility to make sure that it gets used more often. And the difficulty is that because everybody has a Discord, it's really hard to pay attention to all that sort of stuff. Brace Yourself is definitely one that I check in fairly regularly, and where I can, I try to interact. So I will encourage you to do that, because again, the big thing for me is that part of the early access experience has very much been being a member of the community, such as I am. I know I'm not like a not like a rock star or anything like that in communities. But you don't have to be a rock star in a community to be, to be a part of it. I don't know. I encourage you, even if you don't normally engage with games this way, if Industries of Titan appeals to you, I definitely think it is one worth jumping in with both feet, becoming a fan, and interacting with other people who like the game. If nothing else, just beat them on the leaderboards. But I need to stop ranting, because I would love to host people playing Industries of Titan, which doesn't seem to have happened. So my second best is going to be... Okay, nobody doing Phantom Brigade. So I am going to host a Vancouver developer. I think most of you already know who this is. It's Brian on the Rocks, and he is currently doing Extra Life fundraising, and he's actually playing Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. So I believe this... does that count as a strategy game? I don't know, but I do want to see him play it. So again, sorry for the rambly stream. I had a lot of fun with this. I'm definitely going to be finishing this run before we put Industries of Titan to bed for the next update. And I'll see some of you Friday. For those of you looking for the Brace Yourself stuff, I will see you not necessarily next week, but the week following. And probably be back to Stellaris on Monday, but we'll see. Index Gnome, thank you very much. All right, have a good one. Please say hi to Brian for me.